Now, you've been following the NPR debacle, of course, and what's been going on there, and there's a move afoot in Congress to defund NPR. The problem is NPR doesn't get that much money from the federal government. I'm all for the defunding, by the way. I don't see why in the world my tax dollars should be paying for somebody to compete with me in radio and some of the television that we do. There's just no sense. And with all the choices that we have out there, I mean, we've got radio stations all over. We've got satellite radio. We've got certainly on cable and satellite television, we've got more choices than you could possibly see. So there's no sense in paying for all this stuff and subsidizing. Well, George Soros has seen an opportunity. This is the same guy who says that he was helpless as far as helping the Republicans. But apparently he's not so helpless to help that he can't help NPR. And he has launched this deal where he's paying $1.8 million. Now, in this poop sheet I've got, it says to purchase NPR. I don't think you could purchase NPR with $1.8 million, but you sure can purchase a lot of influence. And Joy Tiz is here to chat with us about that. Joy, how are you?
I'm doing well, Phil. How are you? I think you could purchase NPR for well under $1.8 million if you paid fair market value for it.
Yeah,
I think it was
worth
not
about
a great
$1.98. Yeah. Well, but George Soros is doing what? He's got his organization out there. What's his called? What's his organization called?
Well, one of them is Open Society.
Open Society.
He's got a few million others, including Media Matters and MoveOn.org, are basically Soros contrivances. But his official that he will take credit for is the OSI, Open Society Institute. And the name of that is another interesting long story.
So he's going to take some of the money from that. He's got some program he's doing with NPR where he's helping these people with reporters or something. Tell me about this.
Yes, 100 new reporters for what he's calling it. He's very Orwellian with his naming, just like the Obama administration. This will be the Impact of Government Project, and basically what he's doing is targeting state governments now. He's also got a Secretary of State's project where he's trying to get regime-friendly secretaries of state installed in various places. He's getting ready for the 2012 election with that. But yes, he's hired himself 100 new reporters for NPR.
Well, is that going to help him? I mean, is anybody listening to NPR? I mean, they do fairly well. They do fairly well around the year, but I don't know.
Apparently, someone must be, because this whole Lon Williams thing generated a lot of flack. Again, I think where he's going with this is he's targeting much more precision. He wants state governments under his control now. He's also got a program going to change the way they choose judges in Missouri, so then there'll be just a handful of select people that will nominate judges. So you can see what he's doing. He's not having great success right now in terms of this election, at least at the federal level. So he's working his tentacles into individual state governments.
Now, your book is called Obama Nuts. Is that
leader takes the White House? Yes, and the new one coming out is about George Soros. It's called "It's Not Easy Being God." Well, he does think he's God. This started in his childhood.
Yeah, well, I think he does, and
he said it.
Well, did he? Well, see, some of his followers think he's God too.
Yeah, okay. I've got other words for him. Yeah, since childhood, he believed that he was some kind of Messiah or he was God, but he, at least, unlike Obama, has enough sense to keep that to himself and not talk about it too much.
Right. Well, so in Obama Nuts, the cult leader that takes the White House exposes the machinery that enabled Barack Obama to grab the highest office in the land. How is it, do you think, that Obama came to power as far as because here this guy he's in the state Senate in Illinois,
Right.
4 years prior, and then all of a sudden he's president of the United States. How does that happen?
He's the only man who could have been president of the United States after 140 days in the United States Senate. It's actually a confluence of variables, and I think that years from now we'll still be picking this apart because there's too much focus, and that's why I wrote my book on Obama himself, the person. Right. And really, now you're finding out what I said in the book a year ago is he's nothing special. He's not particularly brilliant. He's certainly not an original thinker or a creative thinker. It's a confluence of variables, the most obvious one being, of course, having a complete lapdog media on his side. That didn't hurt any. And
the chance to be the first black president, and people want to assuage that guilt.
Half black. He's not even authentic. And the decades of dumbing down of our educational system, our Bill Ayers-run school system, the putrefaction of our pop culture, it took a lot of variables to get him installed in the White House. One variable that didn't come into play at all was merit. He certainly did nothing to deserve that office. And we just have to look at that whole thing in context. There was an author, Eric Hoffer, years ago, who wrote a book called The Mass Movement, or The True Believer. It was about mass movements. We call it cults now. They called it mass movement then. And he summed it up so well. He summed it up so well, what happened during the 2008 campaign, that the cult leader or mass movement leader, he calls him the man of words, his job was to inject society with an ailment and then offer himself up as the cure, which is exactly what Obama did in 2008.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, the cure has been worse than the disease, hasn't it?
Right. But all he cared about was getting into power. He didn't care about fixing anything. In fact, he's under orders to destroy everything.
But you can't stay in power like that. I mean, apparently people are starting. And I was seeing the story today where the independents out there, a lot of them who voted for Obama, are now starting to see this. Hey, we were sold a bill of goods, so we're going with the Republicans this time.
Well, he could if he were better at being a cult leader. He's not even good at. He's really not good at anything when you break it all down. We have had tyrants stay in power for a very long time, not in this country, but in other countries they stayed in power much too long. He's just not that good at it. So, yeah, it is falling apart fairly quickly, quicker than even I believed it would.
Well,
what we have to look at when this is all over and we look like we're starting to rewrite the ship is we've really got to do some self-analysis and how we allowed this to happen.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Well, Soros, though, has got a lot of money, a lot of influence. He can make a lot of things happen behind the scenes, you know. As a matter of fact, there was a listener out there that told me that they were, for Halloween, he was going as Obama, but actually he was going to have a George Soros mask, and he's got the puppet strings over Obama. So, I mean, but a lot of people don't even realize that George Soros is the puppeteer.
Thing I could imagine seeing on Halloween.
Oh, no kidding.
George Soros anywhere, the unrepentant Nazi collaborator. All they have to do is read my book, and you'll know a lot about Soros. There's not a lot written about him as a person, his character.
But it's not easy being God.
That's not easy being God. The real George Soros should be out within the next week or two.
Well, good. Hopefully, we're going to get a copy of that. So, but I mean, but this guy can do a lot of damage behind the
he does,
scenes.
And he has. He bought the Democrat Party by way of campaign finance reform, which John McCain participated in willingly.
Yes,
everybody should know that. I think what happened with him is he never quite got over losing in 2004 to George W. Bush. He still has not gotten over that. He can't believe that's happened, and that's why he's so into taking over the Secretaries of State's offices before 12 to make sure he's got control of that system. Remember, Joe Stalin was the one who said it doesn't matter who casts the votes, it only matters who counts them.
That's exactly right.
He wants his own vote counters in place.
Well, and that really, I mean, people scoff at that and say, oh, come on now, Phil. Well, the thing about it is elections, we've seen how easy it is for illegal aliens to vote. I mean, even in our state, Joy, I mean, all you have to do is copy off a piece from the internet and send it in. They send you back a voter registration card. And did you know that in the state of Tennessee, to show up, the two pieces of, they have several things, combinations of ID that you have to have when you first go that first time to vote to prove that you are who you are. But one of the combinations is a credit card that's been signed on the back and a utility bill. And how many illegal aliens don't have that?
Well, it's only our active duty military that are barred from voting when the Democrats are in charge.
That's true. So he plans to take this over from the state standpoint of counting the votes, and if he can do this, then he's got the whole thing. Right.
It's called the SOS Project. And the Secretaries of State's project. On my website, you'll find a link to it. You can read about all of this nefarious plot. I'm very happy to tell you as a Californian that Deborah Bowen, our Secretary of State, was given high praise by Soros indeed, saying she's one of the favorites and the most regime-friendly, which translates into do not let this woman anywhere near a ballot box. No kidding. Well, what's your website where people can go? Is it joytiz.com? It is. How amazing. JOYTIZ, joytiz.com. Try to make it simple. And we're looking forward to the book coming out in November. It's Not Easy Being God, The Real George Soros. That's coming in November. Joy, we'll have you back on when that comes out. How about that? I would love to, Phil. Thank you. Thanks, Joy. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. We'll talk to you.